Welcome to Playing the Field. I'm Jen Matteries from WABC, and joining me today is Gina Sirico from KABC, and our very special guest, Jason Tartick, formerly of The Bachelorette, and now he has his own podcast, Trading Secrets. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, how do you feel that your whole reality TV realm has kind of helped you navigate this world of business and finance and podcasting and all of the above?
I mean, the cool thing was before I went on reality TV, I was in finance and banking by trade, and I had an MBA in accounting and finance. So what's wild is I never thought going on a dating TV show would then give me a platform to have a podcast on financial transparency and write a couple books on career navigation and love and money. But it's wild how those things ended up to be, and it's all kind of somewhat aligned, but somewhat very unconventional.
Yeah, but I mean, only in the best way, right? Are you the guy that like your friends go to for financial advice, or do they sometimes hold back because they maybe don't feel comfortable always talking about money? It is something that people don't always feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah, you know, one of the areas that I actually got really comfortable in talking about money with my friends, ironically enough, was after the show. You know, this was 2018, the impact of like influencer marketing. My buddies would be making fun of me for posting or doing some kind of ad. And I was like, all right, let me tell you how much I made on that ad. And as a result of it, they were like, oh, wow. And one of the interesting things that I learned at like 16, my grandfather was taken advantage of by a financial advisor. And that financial advisor actually is still in prison. And he sat me down at 16 and he opened up all of his financials. And he said, you know, there's a lot of things that happen in this world. And one of the things are that people will lie, but numbers don't. And you got to know your numbers. And he showed me all about his numbers and taught me finance. And it's interesting to see how the connection of financial transparency, a lesson I learned from my grandfather at 16, is so prevalent in our worlds today, especially in our worlds of love and money.
So when someone is dating and they're in the dating world, when is the right time to start the discussion about where they are financially and where you are financially?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough thing to ask. And I think one of the first things is when we talk about this conversation of dating or being married or cohabitating or moving in together and being transparent, it gives a lot of people a feeling of uncertainty and discomfort. And I think the first thing we got to do is say, that's normal, right? Like, we weren't taught money in our school system. We certainly weren't taught how to talk about it. And we know that right now, as a result of it, marriages are suffering in a big way. So then the question becomes, where are we today? And so actually Chime just did a banking survey that said, we're seeing generational shifts. So in this survey they did, 50% of millennials and Gen Zs are saying that they find it attractive when they go on dates or they're dating and their significant other or the person they're going on a date with is willing to talk about their income. Where contrast to that, only 23% of boomers agreed with that. So I think the first thing we gotta do is acknowledge, like, we're seeing this generational shift in openness. And then the second thing is, where do you start? Like, I don't think you go on a first date firing, what's your income, what's your credit score? I think you could bridge the gap between those serious conversations and have like fun, playful conversations. Like, you're on a first date, you could say, hey, if I give you $1 million today, you got 24 hours to spend it right now. Where are you spending it and how? And you get to see, like, how do they prioritize spending? Do they give it away? Do they give it to family? Do they buy material things? Or you can ask something like, you overspend on one thing, unless you go completely broke. I'm just curious, like, what is that one thing? And so you get to learn what's important to that person in a like much more disarming way.
It is interesting, because I'm a Gen Xer. It's good to know for whenever I go on a date again, because like you said, there is this interesting generational shift. And I think it's important to get things aligned. I'm going to bring it back to the show for a minute. Right now, the folks on Bachelor in Paradise are competing for $500,000. So, there is a couple that could go home with this $500,000 right now. What advice would you give to that couple about like what they're going to do with that money, what to do with that money, and how to really talk about it?
Yeah, I think what's cool is I wrote a book called Talk Money to Me, and I surveyed, I think it was around 10 different leads, if they had conversations about money in the fantasy suites just days before they were going to get engaged. And I think of the 10, only one person had one conversation. So of about like 25 or so fantasy suites, there was only one conversation about anything with finances before just days they actually proposed, which is interesting. And now with Paradise, we have this big money pool, $500,000 is on the line. I think it's great because now you're kind of like forcing these conversations, which are really important conversations we should be having anyway. And so for whoever does win it, I think the biggest thing is you can't decide what you're going to do with the money or how you're going to do it or what percentage goes where until you understand everyone's and each individual's relationship with money. Because since day one, like we're very comfortable now talking about our traumas, our tribulations, our exes, what our conflict that we've gone through to create growth. But we still have yet to recognize that our psychology of money goes back to day one. Like what did we see from our parents? How did they earn? How did they spend? What does buying do for us? And so I think what we have to do, especially whenever a couple wins, is they got to really sit down and understand the psychology and each relationship they have with money. And then they got to make a play with it. But I'm always going to say, take a little and have fun with it. But the rest of it, you got to invest in an environment like this.
So how closely have you been watching? Are you still deeply rooted in watching the seasons of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise?
Yeah, so for my podcast, I cover a lot of it through the business and finance elements of it. So I've been dabbling a little bit, and I'm still tied to the franchise with watching here and there.
Is it something that you would ever dip your toe back into if they called you and said, hey, would you, come lead, be the Bachelor? Is it something you would do?
I always say, like, you never say never. I will say since like, I don't know, what was it? Probably the last 2 years, there's been like 5 different shows that have approached me to go on, and my desire to go back into reality TV is quite low right now. So never say never, but I would prefer, if I was going to go back in, it would be like a competition type show, but you never know.
So maybe not to be the Bachelor, because there's a lot of people out there who want to see you as the next Bachelor.
Are there?
Yes, there's like articles about it. Yes, okay, definitely.
I have seen some people have sent me these articles that are these like rumors, but yeah, I don't know where that stuff all comes from.
Well, you're setting the record straight here, right? It hasn't happened. They haven't asked you, and that may not be a thing.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it.
Oh gosh.
Fair enough. Well, but let's ask that question though. So now you've got the money part right, obviously. What do you look for in love? We think you might be single right now. Are you? Where do you stand relationship wise and dating?
People want to know.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
The ladies want to know. The ladies want to know.
I love it. For me, as far as like, okay, let's start with what do I look for. I think what I'm looking for in someone is, I'm looking for like a teammate and a life partner, someone that like through all the crazy challenges will always be by there, not just in their words, but in their actions. And someone who is supportive and looks at life as a team. And I think I've seen that from my parents. So my parents have been married for over 40 years, and it's like truly beautiful to see every year their love for each other grow. Like that to me is the dream. And that's what I'm looking for. And as far as like my dating life right now, I would say in summary, a lot of my dating life, majority since 2018, has been very public. So for right now, like all the nuances, the ins and outs, I'm pretty much keeping private unless I come into like a conundrum, which happens often, and I'll go on my Instagram and just be like, all right, I got this scenario that just happened on a date. How do you proceed? But other than that, I'm kind of keeping it a little private.
Well, this is sort of like, not to sound like a creeper, but I'm from Buffalo originally. So I've always been like a fan of yours, being that you're from there as well. And
let's go.
I saw you at Hatch in Huntington, New York last year. You were with your friends John and an ex-girlfriend. And you guys were so funny because I was sitting there with my family and, as people do, sometimes there's jokes and there might be an F-bomb or two. And one of you guys was like, wait, be quiet. There's little children over there. And those were my little children. And we didn't mind.
I am, first of all, I'm sorry.
No,
Second of all,
don't.
when you put John, Alex, and Kat and I in a room together, there's a lot of fun would ensue. And I can only say unbelievable things about all three of those people. They're all so great. And my apologies a year later for us having a little too much fun by you guys. But you know how Buffalonians roll. Like, if we're doing it, we're doing it.
It is all good. I'm so excited for the next upcoming season of the Bills.
There you go. Oh
my gosh, it's going to be a great football season.
Knocks?
Yes. So I didn't finish episode 1 yet. I'm almost through.
Okay.
I had to turn it off to go do something, but I am loving it.
Good stuff. Go Bills. Let's go.
Woo, go Bills. Gina, any other
As
questions?
a Dolphins fan, as a Dolphins fan, I will just say I kind of envy the fact that you have something to look forward to with the Bills. I just really
Squish the fish.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
You know
what's
what,
gonna
though?
happen
It's
with my
like-
football team.
You're right, but it always, talking about dating and all that stuff, it always ends in heartbreak. I mean, we're at the 36 years straight, always heartbreak. So we'll see what happens. Maybe 1 year, right? One year, Gina.
It would be great to see another
we can only
Super Bowl.
That's right. That's right.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we are
I'm not
wishing
looking
you
forward to hockey season.
the best of luck. And I really do think you'd make a great bachelor. So, maybe put that in the forefront of your brain. People would love to see it. And maybe some wonderful ladies would join the season. You could meet your future wife.
My mom was joking around. She said, Bachelor, you're 36. You could be, they have a golden bachelor. Maybe they have a silver bachelor. I thought that was pretty funny. But no, that's sweet of you to say. And it was fun. It was fun to be on this. This was great.
Oh, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And go Bills.
Go Bills.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jason. Take care.
All right. Take care.
So Gina, that was so much fun. It's always nice to have a little blast from the past, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's actually fun to learn a little bit.
I did.
So we all learned a little bit about money and like what you should do and the conversations you should have with your potential partners. So it was fun and educational.
Yes.
I feel like that's a good thing for us.
Yes, definitely. Well, let's hope maybe a future Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise personality could use his advice as well, especially with that prize
And
money.
actually, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bachelor in Paradise, folks, if you're listening, take heed of what Jason said about that money and about that prize money, because it's going to be important. I actually also found it was interesting that he was kind of like, I'm keeping everything private now. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him. I feel like that's important. He's kind of learned his lesson, I think.
Either we'll be surprised and he will be the next Bachelor, or maybe he's looking, like you said, to keep things a little more private. Maybe we'd see him on a different reality TV show in the future, but he seems to be having a good time. So, and I also love following him on Instagram and his sweet little dog. So cute. If you haven't checked that out. But anyway, for Gina, I'm Jen, and thanks for joining us on this edition of Playing the Field.